In this video, I'm going to react to 9 things Americans do that British people do not do. Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. This is the place where I react to music, media, sports, anime, anything related to popular culture. I'll watch it with an open mind and give you my 100% honest reaction to it. And if you could please hit that like button early, I'd really appreciate it. So finally, I get around to another Lost in the Pond video. For some reason, I don't think I've reacted to one of his videos for months now. Even though I love his channel, it's really awesome just to gain the perspective of a Brit who's now living in America. And this particular video, thanks to whoever recommended it to me, is always something that I've wondered because, like, you know, the US and the UK, our cultures are super similar, like really quite aligned in a lot of ways. But there are obviously things that when, you know, you get a large amount of people and you separate them by thousands of miles, you know, certain things, behaviors, maybe ways of life, clothing perhaps, are going to be different, right? And I think about a week ago I reacted to 21 things people do in America that confuse Brits, and that highlighted quite a few of those types of things. But hearing it from Lawrence, who's actually a British guy, is going to take it almost up a level. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. So let's go. This is going to be me reacting to 9 things Americans do that British people do not do. Let's do it.
Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one
I love how he slipped. That was a cool little pun there, the way he slipped the title of the channel in. Like it.
One of those memos pertains to the things we do as people. It turns out that there are just things that people in one country do that the people in the other country do not do. And today we're going to take a look at 9 things that Americans do that Brits don't. And take that title with a grain of salt, okay? It's very much a generalization. Of course, many of the things on this list probably are practiced by some people, some pedants over in Britain. I said pedants, not peasants. But for the most part, on the whole, generally speaking, how many other ways can you say that? Americans do these things more than Brits. Now, if I'd have done this list maybe 12 years ago before I moved to the United States, there are some things I would have included that have since caught on in Britain. So, you know, baby showering or queuing up for the Black Friday sales or getting a coffee to go. So since there's more...
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, it does seem that over time, as globalization is growing, cultures are sharing more and more things, you know, like there's a lot more synergy happening between nations, especially the US and the UK.
More of a level playing field in regard to those things, I'm just going to leave them off the list. And given that we're all presently trapped in our bunkers, even the ones that did make it onto the list probably shouldn't temporarily, including this. Smiling at strangers, which I suppose is what I'm doing to you right now, so I'm a hypocrite in a way. And you know what, I think when I first encountered this is when you're walking along, say, a footpath, or you're in a parkway, and someone you've never met, maybe they've got a dog, they just look at you and smile. It sounds creepy when I put it like that, and at first it was. I thought I was going to get mugged, right? British people value their personal space, right? Don't enter that zone. And so whenever that happened, it was a little off-putting, but I got used to it when I realized that Americans are just really friendly, and this is a good thing, right? And so I not only came to embrace this, but I started doing it myself, and you know, people got a bit creeped out by the British teeth. I can't help that, it's just something I'm born with.
I think this is one of those things that's starting to change a bit. It's weird. Whenever I go to the Midlands, so that's Birmingham, Nottingham, areas like that, or up north, people smile at strangers all the time. You know, you'll often get like a hi, you know, as you pass someone on the street, which I like that a lot. You know, what's it going to cost you saying hi, you know, hello, exchanging pleasantries like that? It's only really in London, like central London, where, you know, everyone's probably on their way to work or on their way home, people are tired all the time, that people don't really smile that much. But I definitely feel like as a nation, we are starting to adopt smiling more. Maybe that's just my experience, I don't know.
And so you're going to have to accept it from now on. I must say, though, that during this sort of weird situation we find ourselves in, if anybody smiled at me while I was going out to take the trash out, I'd run for the hills. We don't have hills in Chicago, so I'd be lost. Similarly, which is a word I had to say about 10 times before I got right, Americans might greet you not only with a smile, but by saying, how are you? Or what's up? And these don't mean, are you okay? Or anything like that. It just means hello, right? And it's, in a way, it's sort of similar to how we Brits say, all right. And we're not asking if you're okay, we're simply saying hello. So in many ways there are similarities between the two. I don't really know why that is. Are we just trying to soften and euphemize the word hello in the same way that we would with death or going to the toilet? It's really odd when you think about it, but we both do it. Should I start my videos with, all right, I'm Lawrence, and no, I won't do that. What I will do is go on to our next entry.
Yeah, I've noticed this as well. Like in America, way more flags outside outside people's homes. Way more. It's rare to see a British flag outside a house. Very, very, very rare here in the UK.
Flags. I did talk about this in a video just recently that, American families and houses and things like that are very prone to having the flag flying outside. And I found that it really doesn't matter which party you vote for or anything like that. People will still fly the flags regardless of that, particularly on July the 4th, but you will see it at all times of year on numerous houses. And that's not to say that we don't fly the flag in Britain, but we usually reserve that for very special occasions like football matches, which are very special occasions these days. There's just sort of, maybe there's more pride in the flag here, or it symbolizes so much more, and therefore it gets used. And when I say it symbolizes so much more, I mean, it really does. You've got the 50 stars representing each of the 50 states, and then you've got the 13 stripes representing each of the original 13 colonies. And so it's symbolic in many ways, and, it's part of the lexicon even. You've got words like Old Glory, Stars and Stripes, and things like that. And so it's a very pervasive part of American culture.
Definitely. I think it's the flag in America. It means so much to the people there that to wear it, it's great to see the pride that people take in it. To be honest, I like it.
Yes, date formats. Again, I've spoken about this before on the channel,
one.
but it's very much worthy of inclusion because when I first moved to the United States, it was very hard for me to get out of my head the British way of writing the date, which is to put the day first,
then the
month second, and then the year. So it's sort of in order of unit, right? The smallest entity, the day, the second smallest, and then the third smallest, the year. Or is it to the largest? It's so hard to word that correctly without confusing yourself. I'm not a mathematician, and that was evident in my early days of trying to get my head around the American date format. It's not hard. I mean, you obviously just switch the day and the month around. But it's that thing you've known all your life. You're having to unlearn what you'd already learned. And eventually, working in an office every day for 5 years, the American way of doing things really did sort of cement itself in my head. And I came good on that front. And I think now if I were to move back to Britain, it'd be the other problem, and I'd have a hard time adapting. And if I tell everybody that my birthday is 11/18/1981, they'll think I invented 6 more months, and will kick me out of the country again for forgery. That's not what that means. Falsehoods, just general falsehoods. Oh, and while I'm on the subject of birthdays, that brings me on to our next entry.
I do have to ask, why is it in America that you guys put the month first? Because I do guess when you say, okay, for example, what's your birthday? You would say, I don't know, for example, January 10th, 1955. So you would say the month first, I guess. Is that why you guys put the month first? Because to me, it would seem the more sensible approach to put the day first. But I guess there's no right or wrong way of doing it.
Tailgating was such an alien concept to me when I first moved to America, and in many ways it still is, and that's mainly because I don't own a truck or go to sports events, because that's what happens. When I talk about tailgating, I'm not just talking about, when you drive too closely behind another car. I'm talking about that kind of thing that Americans do at sports events outside of sports stadiums or anywhere else where they can park it, and they just casually light a barbecue and drink beer. And I mean, they look fun. It's just, I've never been invited to one, so Pity me, come on.
Oh, poor Lawrence.
Feel sorry for me, it's never happened. The best you're going to get outside of sports stadiums in Britain is people selling pirated DVDs. I've just realised, actually, those pirate DVD
And scarves.
sellers they're probably struggling right now because A, there's a pandemic on, and B, no one uses DVDs anymore. Actually, I suppose nobody is doing our next entry, including me, so I'm going to leave this to Lawrence from Christmas to explain. Anybody that's followed my channel now for a while will know that I have feelings on free refills. In fact, I did an entire video about it. And while they are all the rage here, and of course you'll find them in most fast food outlets and other places, there is one clarification I have to make here. You will find free refills as an option in places like Subway in the United Kingdom. So in some capacity, America has exported it, but it is by no means as universal in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, honestly, I couldn't name you one time I've been offered free refills. Actually, oh no, that's a lie. Nando's, you get free refills at. So Nando's, other than Nando's, I can't think of one other restaurant that gives you free refills. To be honest, I think it's probably for the best, because if it was encouraged, the amount of sugar you'd be consuming, right, just having cup after cup of soda, would be high. So I guess that's the drawback of it. Although getting free drinks, epic, love that. But yeah, the sugar intake would be pretty high.
As it is in the United States. And as I've said before, I think the temptation of knowing that I could get a free cup of pop on top of the one that I've already had is what made me give up pop in the first place. So I do have that to thank America for. Of course, if you are American and you have the willpower to stay away from the free refills, more power to you. Free refills or not, Americans do like their water to be very cold, and I'm not talking.
I love this personally. I can't drink warm or lukewarm water. My water has to be cold, ideally.
About their bath water. Can you imagine having an ice bath? Do they? That is weird. But they put lots of ice in their water occasionally, and you'll find this happening in restaurants, but people will do it in the comfort of their own homes too. And this was somewhat of an alien concept to me before I moved to the US. I think maybe it's because we live in a mildish climate in Britain. We don't feel the need to do that. And the water in Britain tends to come out of the tap quite cold anyway, so that usually suffices. But actually, I have come to appreciate this one, because during the summertime in Chicago, or previously where I lived in Indiana, it gets very, very hot. Sometimes it can get over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you go out for a run...
100 degrees Fahrenheit, is that about 40 degrees Celsius? Or high 30s? Either way, very hot.
In that weather, and that's not me. I don't run, but if you do, you're going to perspire like crazy, right? So not only do you need just water in general, it is nice to have it with ice in it, because it cools you down. Like it's ice cold, and you're catching your breath because it's going so dry from all the heat. They'll even buy bags of ice here in America. You can actually buy bags of ice from the store, and I still don't know why people do that. I know, because you have ice trays and you put them in the freezer. Am I missing something?
So that you can have ice for a party.
Oh, right. Like a tailgating party, or just generally a party?
Any party.
Any party in the summer.
Or winter.
Who has ice in the winter? I mean, in their drink.
Floridians?
That's true. Is it even winter in Florida, though, when it's winter?
I love this little back and forth they've got going on
here.
Yes, but no.
Not the same. This one seemed really strange for the first few months of living in America. People going out to the store in their pajamas.
What? No way. Really? Wow.
And sweatpants and things like that. It's as if they don't care about what they look like while, traversing Walmart, which I can understand. It's not really something you'd find back in Britain. I'm not saying we dress our Sunday best to go shopping, but we at least make an effort, put on jeans and a t-shirt, You will see people going out in their gym jams, their jammies, PJs, right? And I'm not exempt from that, especially right now. I mean, I don't care what I want people to avoid me, so of course I go out in my pajamas or anything. I went out in this the other day. These aren't my pajamas. That's just me looking like a Sith Lord, a dime store Sith Lord, but nonetheless a Sith Lord. And I suppose in many ways it speaks to that American tendency toward comfort. But this is not just a pandemic era thing. I mean, people have been doing this for centuries, probably.
Pajamas?
Yeah.
I feel like that started in the 90s.
So there weren't people going in the 19th century going out with their sort of sleeping cap on and things like that to their local blacksmiths or whatever. That's it. Thank you for watching this episode of Lost in the Pond. Don't forget to follow me.
Wow, that was really, really fun. I don't think I've ever seen someone in a UK grocery store in pajamas. That would be pretty shocking, to be fair. Not that I would judge them or anything. Obviously, you can wear what you like, but it's just something that's not really done here. It probably will change though, because more and more people, I guess, are using things like online deliveries. So stores are probably getting more and more empty. So people's inhibitions will probably just lower and lower and lower. But yeah, no, this was a really fun video. I love Lawrence's channel, Lost in the Pond. Just really great at just showing the perspective of a Brit in America. It's really, really awesome. More on the way for sure. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, and keep throwing the recommendations my way. I know I say it all the time, but they genuinely help me out, because if I know you enjoyed watching something, I'll definitely enjoy reacting to it. So like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, keep throwing the recommendations, and I'll catch you in the next one.